Back with you now on Monday morning here on Erie News Now Sunrise. Hard to believe this August 28th of 2023 marks 20 years to the day since the infamous collar bomber case played out on Upper Peach Street. Brian Wells, that pizza delivery driver, losing his life as part of that bizarre bank robbery plot that had Marjorie Diehl Armstrong, William Rothstein becoming so many characters that within Erie lore, so to speak.
Oh, they become household names.
Yeah, and we've got the lead FBI agent on that collar bomber case with us this morning, Jerry Clark, to talk about it all.
Every time we get to chat about this, Jerry, it is such a treat because you lived through every moment of this investigation and you have such perspective on what that was like to go through, not just that day, but all of the days following.
Yeah, take us back to that initial, say, phone call, perhaps, when you got word of what was going on and what were you going to be trying to figure out.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you get a phone call, bank robbery. I'd responded to a number of bank robberies in the past, and but I felt like this one was different. When we arrived on scene, it certainly was.
Yeah.
Didn't know what we had. We had never seen anything like this before. And, you follow all the steps that you need in protocol to call the right people, the bomb squad, get everybody in place. And then 318 certainly something we'll never forget.
Absolutely. So is there anything you've encountered since then that is like this in any way?
No, there really has never been anything like that since then, except for some hoax bombs that are used. Nothing with a real live active device like this one. This had never happened before.
And to me, like the people involved in this seem to be the ones that are the most intriguing, even to this moment.
It was a cast of characters, to be sure.
It's the characters that made this so unique. The fact that they found each other for like-minded, bad intention and evil was really the most fascinating part of the case.
Was there ever a point, and I have to imagine there was, maybe a couple of weeks in, where you're like, we don't have a clue what's going on here, and if you're wondering if you're ever going to be able to figure it all out?
I think the first few weeks it was just total chaos because, again, we had never seen anything like this. All the investigators involved had never been a part of anything like this.
Sure.
And so those first few weeks were really, really difficult.
And what about dealing with the national and worldwide attention that this case brought to Erie?
The pressure was enormous. It went all the way to, the director of the FBI, all the heads of agencies were involved, multiple jurisdictions, 3 deaths within 3 weeks. It was just really complex.
Was there a light bulb moment where you're like, I think we're starting to unravel this baby?
I think when Bill Rothstein turned in Marjorie Diehl Armstrong for James Roden's death, and I interviewed Bill Rothstein that night, I really felt like there was involvement there. Just putting the whole thing together was difficult.
What do you feel like the lessons learned from this have been over the last 2 decades?
I think it's that law enforcement never gives up. Every day we're out there doing great things for people, trying to solve cases, put things together, and I'm most proud of that we never did give up.
Do you feel like you figured out the folks behind all of this, though?
I think we definitely have the folks behind it.
But do you understand them?
Well, I think you never know everything about a case, but I'm 100% convinced we had the right people.
I don't know, we're running out of time, but quickly want to ask the question. I think it's that one lingering question that remains out there. Brian Wells' knowledge of this whole plot before his life ended.
Certainly, my heart and soul goes out to the victims in this family, and Brian Wells and his family are one of those. He died in a horrific way in front of a lot of people, and it was very, very sad that he was tricked into doing something that he never really wanted to do.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning, Jerry.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Jerry Clark, lead FBI agent on that collar bomber case. Now 20 years ago today. We appreciate your time. Erie News Now Sunrise is coming right back.